Hey, welcome back to the wrestling show. We're keeping it real. Goes right. Welcome back to Real Take Wrestle Talk live here on YouTube. I am joined as always, with Trevor the Sauce Souton. Trevor, tell him what's up.
Hello. How's everybody?
Well, everybody tell us how you are in the chat. Let us know. You know how I am, Trevor. I'm freaking jacked. I'm excited because this past Sunday, AEW Double or nothing. Oh, Freudian slip right there. AEW Double or Nothing held their pay-per-view event, and it was really, really interesting to see what went down. I caught it a little later than other people did, but I thought it was very good. We'll talk about that. We're also going to be talking about big news out of WWE, out of the Raw announce team, out of expectations for WrestleMania 38 and SummerSlam. We'll talk about those as well. And, of course, all the other news from the interesting and wonderfully insane world of professional wrestling. Before we get to any of that, though, I want to remind everyone here to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for daily videos. We got not just this, but Real Take Sports Talk is coming back on Thursday. Been a huge flux on that show, but it is coming back on Thursday. We're going to be covering NBA Finals, NFL news, and all that other stuff. But tonight, we stick to wrestling. And Trevor, my friend Trevor, we had AEW Double or Nothing. It was AEW's first pay-per-view with fans back at full capacity at the Jacksonville Jaguars Daily's Place Arena. We saw many great things happen. Kenny Omega taking on Pac and Orange Cassidy for the AEW World title. We saw Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, winning the Casino Battle Royale. We also saw the good doctor, Britt Baker, DMD, winning the women's title, as well as many other matches. We'll run through the matches in just a second, but I just wanted to get your initial reaction to the pay-per-view. What did you think of this pay-per-view just as a whole? Was it one of the because I personally think this is one of the better pay-per-views AEW's put on, and that's saying something, I think. But give me your just general impressions of the pay-per-view.
First and foremost, I want to get this out of the way. If you see me blowing my nose or sneeze, I have a bit of a cold. I apologize, but I'm powering through. So, secondly, it was amazing. It was one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in a while, and even the matches that I wasn't really interested in seeing, like the Cody Rhodes match, was amazing. So the atmosphere was there. I thought the announce team was on point. I thought everything was great. Everything that pretty much happened flowed well together.
Yeah, I thought so too. And I think it got off to a very good start, from the beginning. They picked, I think, the best match to go on first because it was. A lot of people thought that, Adam Page versus Brian Cage would kind of be a throwaway match, but I thought it was perfect because I don't think you will ever get as big a pop from Brian Cage entrance than you did on Sunday, even though I think Brian Cage is an amazing star. But that match kicked off the pay-per-view. That was a good match. I thought it was very hard-hitting. I liked the dynamic of kind of the tension building with Team Taz. Brian Cage saying, I don't want you guys coming to my aid all the time. I don't want you guys coming to help me out every time you think I need help. I want to do something on my own. And I liked how they played that up. I like how that's probably going to continue. And, this tension between Brian Cage and Team Taz has been building up for a long time. So I thought that was a good piece to add in this match. Adam Page, of course, went over. He won with the buckshot lariat after a distraction, weird finish with the other members of Team Taz. But overall, I thought that match was good.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. You know what? You couldn't have started with a better match. And like you said, that pop that Brian Cage got was phenomenal. I think that at that point, they were just happy to see live wrestling. Anyone could get a pop, But not taking anything away from Brian Cage, of course.
Yeah. Brian Cage, I think he's gonna have a fun time running through the members of Team Taz. I think this is probably gonna be building up to a match between him and Powerhouse Will Hobbs. And if you're not excited for that match, you don't love professional wrestling. That's gonna be.
I'm way excited.
That's gonna be. You got to be excited for that match. That's gonna be great. Moving on, next match that we're gonna talk about was the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson defending their AEW World Tag Team titles against the team of Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, and a lot of things were over on this show, Trevor. Almost everything was over, but nothing got quite as a reaction as Jon Moxley. I think he got the biggest pop of the night. I think he felt like a star, and we'll talk about the AEW crowd because this crowd was just insanely great. Big ups to all my fans down in Jacksonville. But this was a good tag team match, I thought. I covered a lot of this in my review of the pay-per-view that I posted the other day. So if you haven't checked that out, go check that out right now. Cheap pop. But no. So I thought it was a good match. I thought Jon Moxley obviously worked most of the match, and I think there was a spot here that I want to talk to you about specifically. There was a spot here where Jon Moxley, he got like V-triggered 3 times, super kicked twice, and then as he's they go for a pin, and it's a 1 count after like 4 V-triggers and two super kicks in the moment. Okay, here's the thing. In the moment, I thought this was awesome, right? Because I was like, yeah, whatever, and then I'm like I took a second to really think about it. I got that, post-pin clarity, as they say. And I was just like, I don't know. I like that. But also, I thought this was kind of like, to me, it's also very similar to like Hulk Hogan hulking up, because Hogan would do the same thing. So, I mean, again, it's give and take, but I thought that was awesome. I just think this whole... Again, you're going to hear me use the words awesome. I'm going to be sounding like The Miz when I'm talking about this pay-per-view. But I thought that was cool. But what about you? What did you think of this match, Trevor?
So that's one of the spots that I like kind of stood out for me as well. I was like, well, that's interesting. Like, I thought it was a bit overkill. But again, I'm wondering if that's what, like we talked about last week, if that's what they're using for him to like get out because his kid's going to be born soon, maybe he suffered an injury through all that. But again, amazing. And everyone on this channel knows how I feel about Eddie Kingston. He did a great job, amazing job. Eddie looked great and better than I've seen Eddie look in a very long time. And you know what? I thought, I thought the whole match was great. I thought the assholism shown by the Young Bucks was awesome. When they made fun of the Shield and even Hulk Hogan, I cried. I thought it was amazing. The whole thing was good.
Yeah, agreed. The whole thing was good for me too. You Bucks obviously got the win over Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley in 21 minutes. The titles weren't going to change hands, but this was a hard-hitting, great match. Loved it. Moving on, we're just going to touch on this match because we're going to talk about the winner and what this might lead to later on in the show. But we saw the Casino Battle Royale for a title shot at the AEW World Championship in 2 weeks at what I believe is going to be Fyter Fest on a special Dynamite. So Christian Cage came out first. He was one of the first entrants in this match. You saw, of course, everyone else come out. And I thought this was... So usually I like these Casino Battle Royales. I know that AEW has gotten a lot of flack about the Casino Battle Royale format, with the cards and then the rules. They seem a little convoluted, but when you really think about it, it's just as convoluted as almost anything else in professional wrestling. Like the War Games is, I would say, equally as convoluted, quote unquote, as this. Like this is, it's a really simple thing. 5 guys come out every 2 minutes, and then you have one guy who comes out at the end and needs a Joker card. Like people, anyone who thinks this is like too convoluted, pal, like you just get over it. It's wrestling. It's not that hard to figure out. Just pay attention.
It makes more sense than the fucking Royal Rumble.
At least they have a timer. At least AEW has a timer. Look, and look, I'm not gonna lie to you. That might be the downfall because this match. There were some parts where it was a little clunky. There was a lot of rush. There was a lot of like stuff that felt rushed, out of place. And again, that's that's probably a little bit of inexperience from people backstage who that might be showing, and we'll see. Hopefully, they can fix that later. Otherwise, I thought it was a good battle royale. Christian Cage was the guy who went from coast to coast. He went from number 1 to the very end. We saw Jungle Boy obviously winning at the end. But I want to get your thoughts on the Joker card. So we knew that there were a few options here for the Joker card, none of which we actually mentioned in our prediction video.
None of them.
The actual person we didn't mention, but there were a few people we mentioned. We thought Daniel Bryan could be in play. I thought Hangman Adam Page potentially, as like pulling double duty, that could be a way to get him to All Out versus Kenny Omega for the AEW World Title. I thought, what was another name we thought? There were a few names. There was a few names, but in the end, it ended up being Lio Rush from New Japan, which a lot of people. No, I don't think anyone guessed it. I think Tony Khan was probably the only other person who would have. But, exactly. Lio Rush coming in, making his AEW debut. Tony Khan mentioned he has some other dates, but he wants to work with Lio Rush. They have a handshake agreement to work a few dates in the future with AEW. So what do you think about that? What do you think about Lio Rush?
I like Lio Rush. I've always liked him. Another DC boy. I've always liked Lio Rush. I think Lio Rush is a great wrestler. I think they did him dirty over in WWE, which they do a lot of wrestlers. But yeah, I think he's very talented. And honestly, with all the talent on AEW, I hope he just doesn't get lost in the shuffle. And this is why I said before, one more title will make sense. Just one more will make perfect sense. Because you have a whole bunch of superstars that you would like to put a title on, but you can't,
Yeah, and we'll get to another title potentially being added later on in the show because Cody Rhodes did talk about this. But to put a bow on the Casino Battle Royale, again, a little clunky at times. I thought there was a lot of execution that could have been better. The entrance, what I did not like, when the next round of entries would come in, they would play everyone's music.
Yeah, I thought
that was too much. That was too much. Just I liked it better when it was just. You don't have to get a pop for everybody. I understand that's what they were trying to do. I understand that was the overall goal of what they were trying to accomplish with the music playing. But you don't have to get a pop for everybody.
It makes sense to get a pop for like Jungle Boy, guys like that. But
yeah, but at the same time, I mean, if you at that point just make him the Joker. If you want him to get the pop, make him the Joker. I understand. It just doesn't work, especially with how short the ramp is. Especially like because by the time they're running to the ring, it's like their music. No, it just doesn't work. I didn't like that part. I didn't like some of the execution of the stuff. The ending was great with Jungle Boy eliminating Christian Cage. We'll get to Jungle Boy specifically more later on in the program, but I thought overall, pretty good. Some things could have been better, but they got to the end, which is what every battle royal is about. It's about the end.
Right.
So I liked it in the overall. Again, just things could have been better.
I agree. Totally agree.
Moving on, Cody Rhodes took on Anthony Ogogo in a match that Trevor was not excited to see at all. But you know what? They went out there and they had a pretty good match. It was a pretty good match. Yeah, and Cody Rhodes, brought back his original theme. No Snoop Dogg remix. Everyone in Jackson in Daly's place got to do the whoa, which I thought was pretty cool.
Especially you in your bedroom.
Especially me. Yep. But again, I think we all saw this as kind of like the match a lot of people were least excited for, but they ended up delivering a pretty decent match. It wasn't like a piss break match. There were not many piss break matches on the show. I think any piss break matches on the show. and this is as close as you got, and it was still a damn good match. I thought Anthony Ogogo especially showed that, not only does he belong in wrestling, the dude's got like really good ring psychology. The way they were working his eye and the way he was selling it, I thought was great.
I love how they told that story in the ring. I definitely did.
Yeah. And there was a lot of things to like, whatever you think about the angle of the American dream and the foreign heel, whatever you guys want to think about that. I know I was a little controversial. I talked about that last week as well, but I think they came out and they delivered a good match. Cody going over, I thought that might be too much. I would like to think that someone in the factory would get a win over Cody at some point, but again, he's the Triple H of AEW. It is what it is, right? But what did you think, Trev?
I mean, I can't agree with you more. Like, I kind of thought, because that's what we talked about last week, right? Like, someone in the factory going over, it makes sense. It also talked about how it's going to probably be an interesting match, but I wasn't really looking forward to seeing it. But it was a great match. Again, ring psychology was great. The story being told in the ring was great. I honestly thought that the factory would have benefited from a win, but I'm okay with what happened. I'm okay with the ending. I am. Because I honestly think he's going to leave soon too, because his kid's being born soon. So
Yeah.
maybe they come out on a high note.
Maybe. But again, I think that's also a problem that people have had with Cody Rhodes as of recently, and I think a lot of that comes down to cynicism. A lot of people just want to find something to complain about,
Right.
but I do also think that there is like an underlying belief that Cody gets the best entrance. Cody gets everyone else comes out from like the heel or the face ramp, like the
Right.
entrances. But Cody comes from the middle. You got him having the convoluted entrances. Him having these marquee matches with Shaq and whatnot. And a lot of people, I think, that their criticisms come from a wrong place or from bad faith. What I would say about Cody and his reign of terror, which it isn't, but that's like what
Right.
people are calling it.
Yeah.
What I'll say is one thing that the one thing I will say is that I get why that perception exists, because those things do happen. Cody does come out to the ring with a special entrance every time,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think the where it gets like bad, or where it gets to be too much, is like when he's doing stuff like like he did at Double or Nothing 2019 when they had the throne or whatever, and they had the sledgehammer and he broke it. Like, yeah, it's a cool spot. It'll get a pop, but it's also just like, it's like, did you need to do it? Like, are you trying to forge your own identity, or are you trying to be, WWE? And I'm not saying you can't take parts of it. You have to. It's wrestling, but I don't know. I think that it's based in this idea that Cody is also in charge. But one thing we have to remember is, at the end of the day, Tony Khan approves everything.
Exactly.
There's nothing in that company that will happen without Tony Khan's approval.
I mean, does he talk to other superstars like the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes? Yes, but like you said, nothing goes on there without going through him.
Yeah, agreed. I think though that this is a good match. What this is probably building to, and what I hope it's building to, is a match between Cody and Nick Comoroto, because I think he's like the big monster heel for the factory.
Right.
And if Cody wins against Nick Comoroto, then I will eat my hat and I will eat my words here, because then there's the reign of terror to talk about, because
exactly
you got to put that man over. Anything else on this match, Trev?
No, it was good. It's better than I thought it was going to be.
All right, Miro defended his TNT championship against Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk Monster. We saw they played before a clip of FanFest before this match, where Lance Archer was in the ring with Miro, and Miro blindsided Lance Archer's manager, Jake the Snake Roberts, by punching him in the face. And that essentially took Jake Roberts out. That added a little tension between Archer and Miro, that personal level that a lot of people felt was kind of missing from the build to this feud, or lack thereof. But I thought they went out there and had the match that we all thought they were going to have. Two big hosses beating lumps out of each other. They went through the barricade a few times. But there was a lot of fighting on the outside. But Archer looked really strong in here. My favorite spot in this match, and I'll let you take it from here. My favorite spot in this match was when Jake Roberts actually came down and with the bag, with the snake bag, and comes into the ring, and then Miro sucker punches him again, and then Miro takes the bag with the snake in it and chucks it all the way from the ring to the entrance ramp. I thought that was great. There was not a real snake in there. Don't worry. No. Tony Khan confirmed that. But
back off.
But I thought that was a great match. Like, his evil heel and Miro just being like, "Ha ha! I threw a snake." Like, I thought it was great.
What's funny? I loved the match, and that was part of my favorite spot. But I couldn't help. Have you ever seen Bloodsport?
Yes, I have.
So, you know the guy I'm talking about, right? At the end, where Van Dam fights the guy with the Asian guy, and he jumps around. That's kind of how Miro looked.
Right.
And that's originally what I thought when I saw it. I was like, yo, I wonder if he's doing that on purpose. That's hilarious. But the match was what I thought it was going to be. Two big people like pushing each other around. It wasn't pretty, but it was damn sure entertaining. It lasted longer than I thought it was gonna last too, though. But I think this just put Miro over as this complete ass of a heel that people love to root for because he got a huge pop.
Absolutely, absolutely. Miro ended up retaining his title though by pinning Lance Archer, or sorry, not pinning, by technical knockout. Which again, it's this very gray area in wrestling. Like sometimes they call it technical knockout, other times they don't. But he essentially made Lance Archer pass out with the game over, and game over, and he retained. So. Hopefully they're not done here. I like the tension they built up.
I think this is a very good story you keep going with.
I think you keep going with this too. Anyway, we're going to keep going, and we're going to go to the Doctor, Britt Baker versus the AEW Women's World Champion, Hikaru Shida. We'll talk about this more in depth, but Britt Baker ended up winning. Trevor, what did you think about this match? She won with the lockjaw and made Shida tap out. Shida's been champion for over a year at this point, but... We have a new women's champion. Again, we'll talk more in depth in a different segment, but just general, what did you think of this match?
Amazing. But both women put on a hell of a show. But both women came out and showed off why they're number one and number two of the AEW women's division. Like Shida proved that there was no fluke that she was a champion for that long. Like it was amazing, absolutely amazing. Then you saw like how important it was to both women. Like great match.
Right. I thought this was great. This is again not a bad match. This on the show, this was I think the second or third best match on this show.
This was the match that you were looking forward to anyway, though, right?
Yeah, this is the match I was looking forward to anyway. Like I was so excited to see Britt Baker compete for the women's title or for the world title, and I was just it was great. Like again. Thank you, AEW. I think they're getting better. They're getting better. Hopefully they can get to a point where they have multiple women on the show. That's the only thing you can say because they do have a lot of talent. You got Chris Statlander. You got Thunder Rosa. You got all these premier talent, and hopefully they bring in more. That's what you want to see. You want to see them bring in more. But I thought this was great. Next, Darby Allin and Sting versus Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. I like this.
We'll get more into it later, but
yeah, we'll get more into specifically Sting later because God bless you, Steve Borden. You still got it.
My God.
But what did you think of this match, Trev?
Again, one of these matches that we talked about last week. I was interested in seeing it, but I didn't know what to expect. But it did not disappoint, not at all. Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page. I love the way they work together. Of course, Darby and Sting work well together. This first time we saw Sting in 6 years actually wrestle. Amazing match. I'm not gonna waste all of what I have to say here. I'm gonna span it out.
I think that's best.
Good match.
So much to talk about, and we will talk about it in a different segment. But great match. Sting and Darby Allin got the win. Interesting note though, Sting got the pin over Scorpio Sky, which. We'll talk about how we feel about that because I have mixed feelings about that. We'll talk about that later. But Sting gets the pin over to Scorpio Sky in 12:30. Up next, Trevor, we have the for a match for the men's world title. The world champion, the god of wrestling, the best world champion of the past 10,000 years, Kenny by God Omega, defending his title against Orange Cassidy and Pac. Look at that. That was how Kenny Omega showed up to the ring with all of his titles.
I thought that was arrogant and awesome.
That image is going to be burned in my head forever. Like, that was great. Like, say what you want, because I also have like weird feelings about the belt, the way the belt collector gimmick that Kenny Omega's been portrayed as has gone. I think at times he's too goofy, and it takes a little bit away from the seriousness. But maybe that's what he wants to do, and it is what it is, right? But the three of these guys came out here for 30 minutes and just put on just a classic match. This was amazing. Like, anyone who says Orange Cassidy isn't a good wrestler, anyone who says Orange Cassidy can't work, has no leg to stand on after watching this match. Pac, we knew Pac was amazing. Kenny Omega might be the best wrestler in the entire world right now. It's just like this was amazing. What did you think about this match? What did you and we'll get into the finish in a second, but what did you think about this match?
Again, I've talked about how much I like Orange Cassidy. The Bastard, of course, always puts on a good show. And Kenny Omega, like, you got to give it to him. Like, he might be the best wrestler in the world right now. Orange Cassidy at one point, I swear, kind of stole the show to a degree. But like Kenny, of course, will not be showing up. Kenny did such a great job. They both all three men did a great job. It was such an entertaining match.
Yeah.
And unlike the TNA match, he didn't have to carry the entire thing. Everyone, you know.
Oh my god! Hey! Look! He did not carry the entire thing. I think my boy Rick Schwann got in 15 minutes of decency, and then Kenny Omega carried the rest of the match. But yeah, no, I thought this was I thought this was great. The ending where we saw Kenny Omega, I thought this was my favorite part of the match. Looking back, where Kenny Omega is handed all the world championships he has by Don Callis, and he beats Pac with it, and well, there was actually a thing that happened before that. I'm kind of all over the place. This was a great pay-per-view, guys. That's why I'm all over the place.
Let's save some of it. We'll talk about.
We'll save some of this, but I want to get through the world title match because we're going to talk about that right now. But with the finishing sequence of this match, saw Pac put Orange Cassidy into the brutalizer. Cassidy was about to tap, and Kenny Omega, God bless Kenny Omega, he's stomping away at Pac, and Pac will not let go of this move. Kenny Omega literally can't. He's trying to rip Pac away. And Pac's not letting go. So Omega does the only sensible thing he can do: delivers a double axe handle to Bryce Winsberg, the referee, to stop the submission. And then obviously he was handed the world titles, all 5, I believe, of his world titles that he has, and he hits Pac over the head with all of them. And then he proceeds to do the same with the AEW world title with a prone Orange Cassidy. Cassidy dodges, gets the orange punch, and I believe Cassidy tried to go for a pin. He only got 2, and then Omega rolled him up for a roll-up finish. 1, 2, 3. Omega retained, but by the skin of his teeth. I thought this was the best finish they could do for this match, right? Because you didn't want to get the world title necessarily off of Omega at this point, because you want to do eventually stuff with him. I think Jungle Boy and Adam Page and other matches, right? But I thought this was the best way for them to get through this match, make it entertaining, make it gripping, but also make Orange Cassidy look strong, even though he's taking the pin,
right?
Because he got rolled up. He essentially got caught by the best wrestler in the world for like a split second, and that's what I think is so great about this finish. And then the symbolism with all the 5 world championships and Omega hitting him, Pac not letting go even though he's getting like stomped by Omega. Amazing, just. I like the finish. I thought this match was... I said classic before. This is a classic. This is a match you're going to watch like 10 years from now. You're going to go watch like, yo, you remember that match that Omega, Pac, and Cassidy had at Double or Nothing? Let's go watch that. It's one of those matches to me.
That was a classic match. Definitely a classic match. I love the ending. Like you said, it made Cassidy look strong. It didn't necessarily make Pac look weak either, though, but it definitely made Cassidy look strong. And I think it's going to help him later on in the career.
Yeah, I think so too. Very quickly, Trevor, Stadium Stampede. We will get into this more in a different segment, but the Inner Circle took on the Pinnacle in a Stadium Stampede match, only the second ever, and if they lost, they would be forced to disband and never be able to come back together again. This was crazy. They started off in the stadium. They worked all backstage. We saw Urban Meyer and Charlie Strong get in on the action. That was hilarious. I think Conan also made a special appearance.
Yes, he did.
This
Old
was
man Conan.
oh man Conan. This was great. Inner Circle went over. What did you think about this match? And did it live up to the hype of last year's Stadium Stampede match?
I think so I think last year's Stadium Stampede match got more hype only because it was the first you ever saw. And it was completely and utterly ridiculous. This one was too. But I feel like since it's the newer one, since it's another one, that it got hype, but maybe not as much pop as before. But the interest by the Inner Circle did help. It was awesome. It was awesome. Like a lot of the spots that they did, I'm just sitting there like they didn't really just do that. Like and to hear
Kenny, freaking Sammy Guevara jumping off the walls and like on the Sean Spears,
he's a ninja,
a Spanish ninja,
exactly. So a ninja. But to hear like Urban Meyer go, holy shit, that was the Pierre resistance for me. That was awesome.
Yeah, actually, let's get into this match right here because I don't think there's gonna be a better time for it. Like this was so they start off, what happened here? It was MJF, right? Yeah. MJF comes out in his limousine that we think the Pinnacle is in, however they're not in. He comes out alone to start the match, and then we hear the Inner Circle's music play, and they just jump down from these hooks or whatever, these lines. Like a SWAT team from the top of TIA Bank Stadium, and they're just hanging over there with this big Inner Circle logo on the screen behind them. It was a great visual. They could not have been a cooler entrance. And meanwhile, while this is going on, the crowd is even though they're not in front of them, the crowd is at Daly's place, which is right next door, is singing along, losing their mind to Judas. Literally, this crowd all night sounded like they were like a crowd of 10,000 people, not 5,000 people. It's crazy. So that happens. Chris Jericho goes after MJF, and then we see the rest of the Pinnacle arrive in FTR's truck to back up their leader in MJF. Then everyone breaks out into these different brawls. Jericho and MJF's brawl, I thought, was like the silliest one.
It was
because there was like different levels of silliness like in this match, and then different levels of seriousness in this match. But Chris Jericho and MJF were just silly. We saw the Urban Meyer spot where Urban Meyer and Charlie Strong are handing Chris Jericho footballs to chuck at MJF. And then we see the thing where they run into a cardboard cutout of Shahid Khan, the owner of the Jaguars.
I lost it when I saw that. I lost it. I was like, this is hilarious. And then at the end when he patted him on his head, that was so funny.
Jericho, after MJF messed up the cardboard cutout, Jericho just pats him on his head like, sorry, boss. God bless Tony Khan for getting his dad on TV. But it was hilarious. Then they had my favorite thing. I think everyone else's favorite thing too. MJF getting a thank you sticker stapled on his head. MJF, best reactions in the business, always. Go back and watch the first Double or Nothing buy-in. It's free on YouTube. There's a spot there where MJF gets a cigarette stapled to his head, and I think it's a better. I thought this was a better spot than that, like a better reaction from him than that. This was amazing. Then we see Santana and Ortiz. They broke out and they brawled with the FTR, and apparently there was a nightclub open at in Jacksonville Jaguar Stadium, and only like 6 people were there, but. 6 people in Conan, but
apparently, yeah.
Apparently,
and Conan was the DJ. So
Conan was DJing. How do you? Yeah, no wonder WCW didn't want to pay that man. He can't draw anything. It's like, no, we love you, Conan. Don't hurt me. So Conan comes out, Santana and Ortiz come out and they confront FTR in this makeshift club, and they just start beating up these poor patrons of the bar for no reason.
No reason.
These are good guys. They're just beating up like these random people just sitting down, hanging out for no reason. Then I think they meet at a table like an old shootout. They each share a drink before they go to battle. The 4 of them. And then they went to battle. Tully Blanchard tried to get involved, and then the DJ, who was revealed to be Conan, comes in and stops Tully Blanchard from getting involved, which great spot. I thought that was a good equalizer there. Then they schmoz and battle throughout the arena. What did you think about this specific spot right here?
It was hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Like
Right.
I thought it was one of the better spots. I mean, there were a lot of good spots in this match, but this one in particular I thought was hilarious. Especially at one point, it seemed like they were just fighting like girls. Like Dash Harwood was just throwing bottles at Ortiz, like, and he was like like I swear the reactions in this match alone were priceless, absolutely priceless. But yeah, I thought it was interesting how they got Tully involved. I was wondering if they were going to have like someone else to try to, kind of neutralize Tully. And they did. That's not who I thought it was going to be, but they did. But yeah, it was one of those things. It was just like, wow, man, this is absolutely ridiculous, but it's great.
Right, and that's what it was intended to be. It was intended to be ridiculous, great. It was intended to be fun, and I thought a lot of people thought it was very fun. So let's go to Sammy Guevara and Sean Spears. Actually, before we get to that, let's go to Jake Hager and Wardlow, because Jake Hager and Wardlow, I think, had the least serious of any of these battles. These two, I talked about Will Hobbs and Brian Cage being a future money match. This is a money match because they built the tension between Wardlow and Hager for months. This has been a long build.
They fought once before and Hager lost. And
right, exactly. Yeah.
So it was built up ever since.
Right, and then that's the tension. That was a piece of the tension that was built up. That's why Hager resented Wardlow even when he was a part of the Inner Circle with MJF, or a proxy. I don't know whether he was officially a part of the Inner Circle or not. That's who knows.
Actually, he was technically a manager.
Yeah, someone's gonna correct me. No. I thought yes. Quote Booker T.
That's hilarious.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. He's like, that's why Daniel Bryan was in his Fave 5 for the past 50 years. All right, back to that.
Stupid.
Wardlow and Jake Hager, they have this great exchange of just beating the hell out of each other. Wardlow puts Hager through a wall, and then they just beat each other up backstage. They're throwing stuff at each other, power bombing each other. I think in the ending, saw Wardlow get power bombed by Hager onto some crates from a forklift, which I don't care who you are, and that shit looked like it hurt. but I thought that their exchange was great. What did you think about that?
So, to me, it looked like a Hollywood movie fight of two sworn enemies meeting for the first time, and like the whole Hager through the wall spot was absolutely kind of cool. It was ridiculous, but it was cool to a degree too. But I mean, it was ridiculous because he shouldn't have got up. And then when they fought in the freezer and I got hit by the meat and everything like that, and like how much more ridiculous can this get? And I was absolutely impressed that the hood of that goddamn golf cart held both of them. I was impressed.
MVP of the night, that fucking hood. That was
the whole time I'm sitting there watching, like, that they're gonna fall through. They're definitely gonna fall through. Holy shit! They didn't. Wow.
the power. Push that hood. Push that hood to the main event. Kenny Omega versus Hood, and it's gonna be a 5-star match. Watch, that'd be a 5-star.
And the Hood might win. You never know. The Hood might
win. Yeah, man. I mean, unless he's facing Cody Rhodes, then the Hood's definitely get a job. But no, in all seriousness, like, yeah, that Hood was great. The interesting thing, you noted that it was like this felt very cinematic. They brought in a stunt coordinator from John Wick, the movie.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Which to kind of like really help out with the spots, and that's why you saw stuff like Sammy Guevara jumping off the walls, and here's the thing. So there was a spot in this match where it was during the exchange between Sammy Guevara and Sean Spears. Sean Spears is just sitting in this room full of chairs.
Oh yes. I wanted to talk about this.
Okay, so I just have one thing to say, and then I'll let you take it from there.
No,
So,
please go ahead.
so he's sitting in this room with some chairs, waiting for Guevara to show up, and Sean Spears has a chair in hand. He's sitting down, and he's just moving his head ever so slightly, and I'm just like, he's about to break out in a song. Like, this is about to be like a Broadway musical, because that's the vibes I was getting. I was like, this is like about to be West Side Story. When you're a jet all the way. Like there was nothing else that was about to happen. I was like, this is like the most. There's nothing else that could happen. And then he ended up like just fighting Sammy Guevara, which I thought was cool. I thought that was, I don't know, that might have just been me. I totally thought this is gonna turn into a musical, which would have been way more ridiculous, but I would have been all there for it because that's the whole point of this match, is to have fun. But what do you think about this exchange? Because they had Guevara and Spears were like the workhorses for the whole night.
Yeah, they were. It's funny that you mentioned it. Like, I wasn't trying to take it away from you, but like when you mentioned it, I was like, yes, please talk about this, because I wanted to mention this earlier. Yo, that whole spot where he's sitting there reminded me, especially while he was banging the chair, kind of reminded me of the Warriors, the movie The Warriors, when they were clinking the bottles together. It kind of reminded me of the Warriors, and I was like, yo, this is pretty fucking cool. And again, I kind of agree with you with the whole breaking out song and dance type shit, because it looked like a music video. But when they actually went into like swinging the chairs, yo, your boy Sammy hit a Matrix move like 6 times, and I'm like, yo, someone had to work with them. Like, this had to be choreographed, because like it was so fluid. And I'm like, yo, this is awesome. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. You're supposed to have fun with this match, like you said. That, to me, that spot there though, and to call them the workhorses of this match makes perfect sense. Yeah, because I think their spot stole the show. Honestly.
For sure, their spots totally stole the show and stole this match, and that was the intention. They ended up finishing this match. They brawled to the ring. It's worth to note that Chris Jericho also brawled to the ring with MJF. They both I believe MJF bladed, and MJF got put through a makeshift table somewhere up in the crowds, which took him out. Then we saw the ending sequence, which was Guevara versus Spears in the middle of the ring. They battled for about, I think, 5 or so minutes. Guevara got hit in the head with a steel chair, which, again, so here's the thing. There's a way they do that spot now where it doesn't actually hit you in the head. It's like a shoulder thing.
Yeah.
But so it's just an illusion of hitting in the head. I still think, I don't like that spot, but or at least save it. If you're gonna do it even with the shoulder, just save it for like special times. Don't overdo it. But again, with Sean Spears, I guess that's his gimmick. He's a chairman. So that happened, and then Guevara got the win over Spears, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. And Sammy Guevara, I think this was a good thing. He avenged his loss from last year, because he ended up taking the pinfall at last year's Stadium Stampede. And this year he comes out and he looked like a megastar, man. Sammy was over. There was this video from afterwards that the crowd was just losing it for Sammy Guevara. Like, it was insane. Like, that dude's gonna be a star. That dude, he's already a star, but that's good. Dude's gonna be like a much even bigger star. But what did you think about? Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, you were asking me that. I was so anyway. I think we're just too excited today.
AEW money. Tony Khan giving me money.
But no, like, I agree. Like, I kind of feel that was the point of that particular like 5 minutes, to put Sean Spears and Sammy over, because I mean they had Sean Spears on the roster for like a year, 2 years or so, and they never really used him. And once the Pinnacle came around, that was his moment in the sun to be used and be on the team and be in the spotlight. And I honestly believe, like, when it's all said and done, when either faction breaks up, the two people, of course, Dash Howard, FTR, you're going to talk about them, of course, MJF. But I think the two that you're really going to talk about a lot is Sammy Guevara and Sean Spears, especially Sammy Guevara for Inner Circle. Like, he's gonna have a belt. If they do it right, he's going to have a belt. So I think it was smart to showcase him at the end of the match. Like just to give him, and he's also very smart too because he puts himself over on YouTube and things like that. He's very active. He's very active, and you see him quite often. I think that's ingenious, very intelligent.
Yeah, and this match was great. Whole pay per view, I would say out of like 5 stars, dude, this was like, as far as this pay per view goes, this was as good as it was gonna be. This is like 5 stars. I don't like, these things weren't perfect. So no, this was a great pay per view. Suck it, AEW haters. This was great. And for everyone who thought, well, they're not gonna be able to sell over 100,000 pay per views or more than last year, man, because their product is stale. Guess what they did? It was already like on the night of, or the day after. It was already reported they beat whatever they got last year, which I think was over 120,000 pay-per-view buys, which for a company that's only been in business for 3 years, doing double what TNA ever did at their pinnacle, which was like for a long time the second biggest company, doing more than all these other companies have ever done, the most since WCW went out of business. Hey, it's well, goddamn, pal, they didn't get 1 million like WrestleMania. Give it a few years.
Exactly.
But yeah, this was great. Also worth to note that a lot of people were also saying that there was potential that their AEW might not be able to continue their success or continue their momentum that they had before the pandemic as far as crowds, and there might not be that much energy. They were having trouble selling tickets. So here's the thing about that. The reason AEW for a few weeks before Double or Nothing were having trouble selling tickets for Dynamite is because they were running the same market. They were running the same arena for 6-7 months. Actually, more than 7 months. 8 months at that point. For 8 months. They're running the same arena. So they have the same people coming in. It's gonna be difficult at a certain point to sell tickets to one specific territory, one specific town.
Right.
Weekly. That's going to be difficult. You're going to run into growing pains. That's why these companies go on the road, because you're going to get fresh crowds. You're going to get crowds who might not have seen a lot of these superstars, who are hungry to see live in-ring action. I think there was some apathy that came in at some point as far as the fans in Jacksonville goes, and that's fine. That was going to happen. But Double or Nothing, biggest pay-per-view they've had. They let a full crowd come in. What happened? They sold out. 5,500 people, loudest 5,000 people I've ever heard in my life, just losing their minds. The AEW fans, the AEW audience, the AEW live audience especially, are the best live audience in wrestling. It is better than post Raw WrestleMania, or post WrestleMania Raw. I think this is they are rabid and hungry for this product, and it's gonna be crazy to see them go back on the road. I think they're going back on the road in they're gonna start in Miami in July. Or I think it's gonna be sometime in July. But so can't wait to cover that. Trevor, you and I might even make it down for an AEW show. Got some news. Got some news I'm gonna announce pretty soon as far as potential press things go. But we'll talk about that offline a little bit, and we'll keep you guys updated about that. Stay tuned to see me at a Tony Khan media scrum. Potentially, allegedly. All right. So that was fun. Let's talk a little bit more in depth about some of the main stuff from this pay-per-view, because we mentioned this, but we didn't really get a chance to really get into it, and I really do want to make sure we talk about this. Trevor, Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Yes.
What a guy. Let's talk about this. So this Sunday at Double or Nothing, Jungle Boy Jack Perry won the Casino Battle Royale. He will face the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega in 2 weeks' time in a special episode of Dynamite. A lot of people believe that special episode is going to be Fyter Fest or Fight for the Fallen, one of the two, because they usually have those in this time period in June. So look for that. He beat Christian Cage. He eliminated Christian Cage to end the match, and he got one of the biggest pops of the night. He was over. People loved it. Trevor, what does this win mean for Jungle Boy? And, not just he's going to face Omega for the title, but just his career, because we've seen him, kind of be stagnant for a while, even though I think he has the second most wins of anyone on the roster, like all time. So what does this mean for his career and his trajectory right now?
I mean, when you have a talent like Jungle Boy, you have to use him, and as young as he is, he's been on the indies for a while, and then he came over here, he's like 25, 26, something like that. And to
24.
24, see? And to still get the recognition he gets, and a lot of people, it's because his dad passed tragically. No, it has nothing to do with that. Yeah, he's Luke Perry's son, yes, but that has nothing to do with the talent this man has. He's just a talented kid, and he's starting to show that he actually has charisma too. Because at first he kind of, like you said, kind of stagnant, he kind of lost in the shuffle. You paid more attention to Luchasaurus or Sanjay Dutt's little. I mean, not Sanjay Dutt. What's his name? Marco Stunt.
Sanjay Dutt.
I don't know.
How do you get Sanjay Dutt and Marco Stunt?
I have no idea. I am sick. Okay. I'm blaming it on the cold.
Okay, fair enough. Continue, my friend. Sanjay Dutt.
Anyway, sorry, Sanjay. We love you. Marco Stunt.
It's live TV, pal. Come on.
They make. Oh boy, take two. They pay more attention to those guys, but Jungle Boy has so much talent, and I think he deserved this. But unfortunately, him with a program with Omega right now isn't really ideal because of the gimmick they're doing with Omega. But it will definitely get him over. It'll definitely get him over some more, because I honestly believe they're going to put on a great program, great match. I just hope the lead up is as good as the match is going to be.
Right. And I understand what you're saying when you say that, it might not be ideal to put him in this program for the world title when there's not a good chance that he's going to win. Actually, he's not going to win, if we're being honest.
Right.
But, you could say the same thing about MJF last year at All Out when he wrestled Jon Moxley for the AEW world title. The same thing happened. It was lukewarm. I think there was more of a chance for MJF to win at that point, but even then, it was just kind of Moxley just started revving up. There wasn't really momentum about him dropping the title, but MJF lost. But it wasn't the fact that I don't think he needs to win is the thing, right? I think the thing is he needs to be in this spot. He needs to be wrestling for a world title in the spotlight. So,
right.
The bigger, more casual AEW fans can see this guy is really good, or more casual wrestling fans would be like, oh, who's Kenny Omega wrestling for the world title? Because, they might casually keep up with AEW. It's like, oh, this guy Jungle Boy. Oh, I heard of him. They watch the match, holy shit, he is great. And there's no one better to put him in when he's got this attention, the spotlight on him in the ring with than Kenny Omega, who's the best wrestler in the world right now, like I said. So I think this is a win-win for everyone involved. I think that Jungle Boy this is the biggest opportunity of his career. Before this, I think the only big spot he ever did was he had, I think, a singles match with Chris Jericho back in 2019, and even then, that was they just did it and then never went back to anything else. So when you have this moment, I think, especially with AEW, you're trying to build these young stars, you're trying to build Jungle Boy into something bigger. You already built MJF into something bigger. You follow this very similar model. You just do it in a different way. You just reverse the roles. In this role, Jungle Boy is the face. And I've literally said this. Jungle Boy has all of the attributes you really want out of a top guy. He does. He's got almost everything. Can he get a little more muscle? Yeah, but you don't really need it. You don't really need it, because look at the top guys in AEW. You got Kenny Omega. Yeah, he's a little bit of a bigger guy. Jon Moxley, sure. But then, and even then, they're not behemoths. They're not Batista or John Cena's, they're not these big guys. But then you got Orange Cassidy. You got people like, like Jungle Boy MJF isn't like this gargantuan. Chris Jericho is not, in the shape he used to be in.
No, not at
Sammy
all.
Guevara, like these young guys, like I think it's okay. People want to see something that will entertain them. People want to see someone who can work and work with the in-ring psychology. Hangman Adam Page, is likely going to be the face of the company for the next just few years,
Right.
like the number one guy, and that's the big thing. He is by no means, like the epitome of a gargantuan wrestler. Like, he's got beef, pal. Like, he's not one of those guys. He's but he can work, and that's what it's all about. He can work, and it works with the fans. And Jungle Boy has that connection. I think this is hopefully working into a feud. One thing, here's a prediction for you, Trev, and let me know how you feel about this. And
All right.
before I get to the prediction, just your thoughts on this matchup, this with Kenny Omega and Jungle Boy. Do you think Jungle Boy has a chance to win?
I mean, honestly, yes. But again, since they're doing the belt collector gimmick, I'm not sure if he's the one that's gonna, overthrow him. I mean, because he still hasn't having his match against the AAA match that he's supposed to be having. So he hasn't done that yet. So there's a chance that Jungle Boy will lose, but I don't think it's gonna be a clean victory though.
Ooh, and you know why it's not gonna be a clean victory? Let me tell you. So I have this prediction about the match between Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega that might be a little bit out of left field, probably won't happen, but I do think that there is probable cause for this to happen. I think there's a good reason for this to happen. So Jungle Boy, I think, it has to have Kenny Omega on the ropes, like does his finishing move. He has Kenny Omega on the ropes, and Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt are there, equaling the playing field with the Good Brothers. And right as Jungle Boy is about to pick up the victory, the ref might be distracted or out of the ring, incapacitated by someone else at this point. Luchasaurus comes into the ring, and he delivers a back choke slam to Jungle Boy, breaking up their team, turning Luchasaurus heel, and it goes to a feud with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, who cost Jungle Boy his AEW World Championship that he basically had within his grasp. And they go to a match at All Out, and you have to break up, the Jurassic Express. That's the sad part, but you also have to think about what else can they do at this point, because they're not really going to be in the tag team title picture anymore. Like, they've been a tag team since AEW's inception 2 years ago. I think at some point they have to break up, and with someone like Luchasaurus, you want to make him look like a monster. You want to make him look big, look like a threat. That's how you do it. And then you could have Jungle Boy beat him and look great. You could have Jungle Boy lose and make Luchasaurus look great, and also make Jungle Boy look great, because Jungle Boy's not losing to a scrub. He's losing to this monster Luchasaurus. And you could do a lot of other things. I think Marco Stunt, like fantasy booking, Marco Stunt, here's what you do with him. Luchasaurus just 1 week just beats the ever living shit out of Marco Stunt. I'm talking about like I'm talking about like throws him off scaffoldings and like literally. I'm just saying like this poor Marco Stunt just gets demolished by this giant Luchasaurus, and like that's how you get like that extra personal level involved with Jungle Boy. Like if you're asking me, that's the route to go, because that's the most interesting. Like, it's
great booking. It's a great story being told. It's great storytelling. It works. Or you can eventually put. You also put Jungle Boy in a program with Kenny Omega and make a huge rivalry feud out of that too, and that somehow plays into, like, not only is he in a feud with this guy and he loses, but his best friends, he's a tag team with, also cause him to lose the belt. So you can combine the two too, actually, if you want to.
That would be interesting. That would be cool. But we'll see what happens with that. Jungle Boy, though, I can't wait. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. All right, moving on, Trevor. Let's talk about our favorite 60-year-old wrestler, Sting. Let's talk about Sting. So Sting and Darby Allin this week took on the team of the face of the Revolution, Scorpio Sky and All Ego, Ethan Page, in a great tag team match. Sting came out. He wrestled, a cinematic match at Revolution. A lot of people were like, okay, maybe they're going to find a way to get around it. Sting took some bumps in this match that most 60-year-olds would not take, especially 60-year-olds with neck injuries.
would take.
Yeah, especially with neck injuries. And look, a lot of times people chant the "You still got it" chant, and it's like, kind of like it's a little contrived, and sometimes it can be condescending. It was not condescending here. Sting came out, immediately takes a suplex on the entrance ramp, and gets up immediately and does a cross body from the top of the entrance ramp from the poker chips onto the floor, which is, I believe, at least around 10 feet, maybe. Does a cross body. I don't care whether he got caught. He's 62 years old and he's jumping off and doing cross bodies. That's impressive.
Very impressive.
He didn't shy away from bumps. He wrestled a match and he eventually got the win. But what did you think about, Sting's performance here? Because I know you and I were talking this was going to be, he was going to do a few spots, but he did much more than I think both of us thought.
Oh, absolutely. Like we partially said earlier, he did way more than I thought he was going to do. I thought it was going to be a good match, but what he came out and did physically made it an amazing match. I did not expect a 62-year-old Sting to go out there and tear the house down the way he did, the way a 62-year-old can. You know what I mean? He took bumps, he jumped off things, he did the Stinger splash perfectly. It wasn't a whole lot of ring rust there either. He literally was, his ring knowledge was good. His ring awareness was good. He really did a good job. And he was in the ring a lot longer than I thought he was going to be too. He actually did a really good job. I was actually pleasantly surprised. Sting wrestled better than some kids do. He did. He wrestled better than some indie guys did. He did a great job.
Yeah, he did a great job. I thought that the one thing that I disagreed with was Sting getting the pinfall. Over Scorpio Sky, which I understand. It's not what people expected, and it gets Sting that moment, that last, he's 60, but he's wrestled a great match and he got the win. I understand it, but it's also Darby should have gotten that pinfall.
Well, in the exchange, he was supposed to, remember, he tagged him in. He wanted him to come in and get it, and Darby got knocked off the ring. So that was the build-up for Sting to get it. But yeah. I think Darby needed that pop more than Sting did.
Yeah, I agree. One thing that Darby did end up doing in this match that I thought was cool, him and Ethan Page, that is a blood feud that's gonna hopefully dominate AEW for the next few years. That to me, Ethan Page and Darby Allin in this match, there were points where you legitimately thought they were going to kill each other. These two have amazing chemistry with each other. I know you mentioned before that they have done a lot of work on the indie scene as well, and you're more familiar with that than I am. But there were so many points in this match where they were just and big ups to our boy Excalibur for also bringing that history into the pay-per-view.
Yep.
There were so many times where they were just going at it, and you were like, these guys hate each other. And there's my favorite spot of this match was, I think Scorpio Sky has Darby Allin in some sort of hold, and then Ethan Page is locked into Sting's Scorpion Deathlock. And
they're slapping each other, and
they're just their faces just right next to each other, and they are slapping the ever living hell out of each other and beating each other up. And these two they just want to fight each other. That's it. And the reason I bring up the Owen Zayn comparison is because I think it's kind of like that, or the Shawn Michaels Bret Hart kind of thing, like two people who are just meant to fight forever or whatever, like one of those things. So I thought that was a great piece of this match, and it lays the foundations for a further story later on. And next next big unsanctioned match, I think you could very well see Darby Allin versus Ethan Page, and that's going to be a great match.
'Cause I think if they fought again, this would be the third one in the series. I think they already done two.
Oh, they've already done two. So this would be the rubber match.
I believe. I'm not totally sure. I gotta look that up. But I believe they've done two already. And dude, that would be amazing. Like they have so much great chemistry in the ring. It's ridiculous. Like I don't again. You haven't seen some of the spots from their old matches. Like there was one where Darby was in a body bag. Like he had got his ass kicked and carried to the ring in a body bag, and Ethan, like, as soon as he opens the body bag, like, punches him in the face repeatedly. Like, they've done so much shit to each other. And this was back when Ethan had before he lost weight too. Like, Ethan had a little weight on him too. So this was back then, but like, dude, they've always performed well together. Like you said, it's like they're born to hate each other. Yeah. They're born to have that chemistry to hate each other, and I would love to see it in AEW.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna see it hopefully because like they built that, they really laid the seeds for that in this match. One thing I will say: do not follow exactly the Owens Zayn model. Please. I don't want to see like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the first time ever. Number 5, like no, just do it every now and then. Like that's something you can always go back to, but like the initial one has to be like really good. Like build it up for an unsanctioned match. I think you've already got some good foundations with Ethan Page essentially costing Darby Allin the TNT title. You have and you know this match. I think they're working for it. I maybe it all out, maybe at Full Gear if you want to do a long build, which I think would be great. That could be an unsanctioned match. And dude, imagine if that match like it's an unsanctioned match. They usually put unsanctioned matches out last. That main event's like Full Gear. What would that mean for Ethan Page and Darby Allin? That would be great. That would be that would be a great thing for them. I think.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. Let's stick with Sting. Let's stick with the icon Sting here because Sting this week revealed why he left WWE. You all right there, bud?
I had to blow my nose out. Sorry.
All right, you're good. Sting this week. So Sting this week revealed why he left WWE. He revealed that he wanted a last hurrah to be against The Undertaker. He wanted one more match as a kind of like his going away match to be with The Undertaker in WWE, and says that one of the reasons he left WWE was that he realized that this match was not going to happen. Speaking with Sports Illustrated, Sting said, quote, I wanted that to happen. I was very clear publicly. I was very clear with WWE as well. I wanted my last hurrah against Taker. For whatever reason, it just never materialized. He went on to say, to this day, I don't know why. Maybe Taker never wanted to work with me. I have no idea. I mean, I have good conversations with Taker. We've always gotten along. I don't know why the match never happened, but it should have happened. Just to put a bow on this, he would end by saying, because it wasn't going to happen, I knew it. That wasn't really the only reason why I left WWE, but it's one of the reasons why I left, and I wanted that last match. So, Trevor, this was big. So Sting basically revealed here that he went to WWE and assuming Undertaker multiple times saying, hey, I'm clear to wrestle. I want this last match to be with The Undertaker, and then I'm done. Like he wanted, I think, and that's a match that everyone wanted to see. Everyone wanted, like the big dream match of the past 20 years was Sting versus Undertaker. There were a few times. 2011, we thought we were going to get it, didn't materialize. 2015, we thought we was going to get it, didn't happen again, and then it just never ended up materializing after that. But what do we think of this news of Sting saying that he wanted a match with The Undertaker and WWE essentially said no?
I wonder why though. Like that's my big question. I wonder why. Like, again, it could have been because Taker didn't want it. But I don't think that, knowing what I know of Taker, I think he would have told him. You
wrestled Goldberg in Saudi Arabia. You like, oh, dude, yeah, I want it. You told me they could. And for all the big mad these old people they bring back for these Saudi Arabia pay-per-views, you're telling me they couldn't bring back Sting and Taker and do one last hurrah?
That'd have been a great draw.
Dude. I hate those shows, and I would have watched that match. Like,
I can't stand those shows, but yeah, I would have watched that. But like I mean, like you said, and the truth was the rumor and the word is that it's been in the making for like at least what, almost 10 years. Like they've been talking about it for years, but it never happened. And I can't honestly see why. Like every time you've seen Sting in the ring, he performs and he looks good at while doing it. But you put him in a program with Goldberg, Goldberg almost breaks his fucking neck. But you don't put him in the ring with Sting. Makes no sense.
Yeah. It makes no sense. I think WWE dropped the ball here because we saw obviously what Sting did at Revolution was insane. The dude looked like he didn't look like he was 62. He looked like he was like, like a solid 32.
Double or nothing, by the way, you said Revolution.
Oh, sorry. Well, they also did wrestle a match at Revolution, but regardless, he's shown that he can do that, and they could have honestly done a cinematic match between these two last year, and it would have been big. You would have drew money with that match because people have wanted to see this match for a long time. There's shortcuts that you could have taken to make it entertaining, to make it happen, and they said no. And I think the biggest reason why they said no is because I think it's twofold. One, I believe it's this idea that Sting, that even though he's cleared by doctors, maybe WWE's doctors didn't clear him. And that's possibly why, because WWE likes to get clearance from their own doctors for this kind of stuff. And, I think that could have been a pitfall there. The other thing that might play into this is we know how Vince McMahon feels about outside entities coming in.
Right.
We know how he feels. Because we've seen them drop the ball with this outside stuff a lot. Go back to Sting's initial run with WWE in 2014. He comes in, does his vigilante gimmick, and he jobs to Triple H. He jobs to Seth Rollins, and he's out. He's done. That wasn't I think the best you could probably do with that situation. I think we can all agree. And so much as putting the vigilante character name in front of him. He's not the icon. No, goddamn pal. He's the vigilante. He's coming back to avenge WCW 15 years later. But and then they put him with the NWO at WrestleMania, even though that doesn't make any sense. I didn't like that. And I think that's possibly why they might have said no to this, because they know that fans might want it, but it's also like they don't see it. I genuinely believe there's part of Vince who just doesn't see it. He doesn't see this match, being the draw that it is. He doesn't see this match being as important as it could have been. And the sad part is, I think the book's closed now. We're never going to see this match. It's not going to happen. And the fact that, there were now in the era of the pandemic, there were ways to do it, especially with cinematic matches. The fact that it's not going to happen, it's kind of sad.
I mean, and there's no one he could have that type of match at AEW with, unfortunately. So I think it's ship has sailed.
Arn Anderson, Sting. Book it, brother.
Wheelchair versus Walker.
Okay. Hey, I mean, he could have a Jake Roberts. He could do a cinematic match with Jake Roberts. I don't know.
Jake Roberts can barely walk down the ring.
Hey,
I love Jake. Love Jake, but
R.I.P. that snake, man. All right, let's continue with this thing. I actually have a question for you. What do you think about a potential heel run with Sting in AEW to kind of cap off his career? Because this is one thing. I know I like fantasy booking, but this is one thing that I thought about. Right, Sting has never in his career had a proper heel run.
Right.
Yeah, he's had he joined the Wolfpack, but even the Wolfpack was a face faction when he was doing the NWO. The main event Mafia was probably the closest he got to that, but even then he was over, and he wasn't a dirty, devious heel. Right. He's never had a real heel run ever.
I mean, even then, he was he did Joker Sting. He wasn't really a heel.
That wasn't a heel. No, he was a face when he did Joker Sting. He was a face. So my thing is, his last run in AEW, last run as a wrestler, his last hurrah, I think, they've paired him with Darby Allin. They've built this relationship with these two up. And you're looking for something Darby Allin to do that's not, necessarily competing for the world title right now. That's not, competing for the TNT title right now. I think build to a match with him and Sting. And I say this, by saying, give Sting one last run as a devious, old like gunslinging heel. Be like,
Right.
it's not my time. Like, it's not my time to go yet. I'm not leaving. And
Right.
he turns his back on Darby Allin. He attacks Darby Allin. He costs him a title or his rematch, probably maybe against Miro or something along those lines.
Right.
And and then Darby's like, why, Sting? Why? And Sting just refuses to say anything. He goes back to being silent Sting, and you just hear nothing from him for like the next like few months. I'm serious about this. Like, I think give him build this up, really build this up. Maybe even take Sting off TV for a while, and just whenever he comes back, just have him run in on Darby's matches, or he might not be able to run in, but have him appear in Darby's matches and cost Darby matches, and really build this up as Sting being a devious heel, because we haven't seen that real heel Sting yet. And like we talking about Taker and Sting, it's never gonna happen. If we don't see it now, it's never gonna happen.
No, not. It's not. I mean, that'd be interesting though. That'd be an interesting little thing. But what's funny is I think he's been seen as a vigilante for so long. Like, this would be something that people would expect, kind of sort of. You know what I mean? Like, finally, like, hit somebody, like, do something devious, do something despicable. But I guess that's something that he's never really. Honestly, I don't think Sting will be actually good at being a heel.
We don't know, because we've never seen him do
it. True.
Dude,
I mean, the closest thing, like you said, was
just quiet, dude. He look. I think it would not be hard for Sting to make that transition as a heel. I don't think it would be that hard. I think like his facial expressions, because he's like a bit of a tweener character anyway. The character of Sting is a tweener anyway. His facial expressions are already pretty heelish. His promos could be very heel. You take off the makeup. Do that. You take off the makeup. Say, I'm never putting this makeup back on. I am not putting this makeup back. Have him wrestle as Steve Borden. Like, I'm serious, bro. Go all in. Pardon the pun. Yeah, and just like make him a heel. Make him like someone you don't want to see. And then have Darby beat him. And then get Darby over.
I mean, that would be interesting though, for his last hurrah to be be a heel, because he's never truly done that, like you said. So that would be interesting. Very interesting. Look at you with all the ideas over there.
No, I have ideas, and people like that. Let's talk. I have an idea. Let's talk about this. Oh, Trevor, you know how I feel. You know how I feel.
I do.
The era of DMD has arrived in professional wrestling. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, won the AEW Women's World Championship this Sunday night at AEW Double or Nothing, defeating the champion for over a year, Thunder Rosa, with the lockjaw, made her submit, looked like a very powerful wrestler, looked like a danger to any opponent in the ring. She's been on the upward trajectory for over a year, and this is like where it's all culminated. Trevor, what do we think about this? What do we think about the era of DMD?
So we all hope that it's going to happen sooner or later. She deserves it, man. She totally deserves it. Like, that match was great. Taking nothing away from Shida. Like, God, what else can Shida do at this point? She's held the belt for so long, unless she wanted to make her be the champion like Great Muta was for 5 years or some shit. Well, no,
no, don't do that.
Yeah, that's not fun. I mean, that was a different type of wrestling too back in the day. Slave Girl Moolah, she held the belt for so damn long because you could do it differently.
What did you just call her?
Slave Girl Moolah.
Holy jeez, Trevor.
Sorry.
That's a topic for another day. We'll talk about Moolah's questionable past another day. Continue.
Oh yeah, she's so. Yeah. Anyway, what was I going with this? Oh yeah, so definitely it's time for Shida to put the belt down. I mean, and who else could she drop it to than the DMD? It was great match to see. I honestly, I hoped it was a clean win. I didn't want it to be a dirty one. I wanted her to win cleanly. Actually, I did because I believe if she wins cleanly, like she did, it'll show how dominant she actually is, and then she'll get that pop because she was over the entire match. But I've never heard a crowd is down the middle as I did that night because you heard Shida chants, you heard DMD chants, but like she was so over. Like it was her time, definitely her time.
Yeah, I agree. It was totally her time. I think that the AEW fans have wanted this for a year. I think wrestling fans have wanted this for a long time. And we saw this with Britt Baker. It's been building up, like I said, for a year. Whether it was her, it goes back to her breaking her nose just a year ago in a match against Shida. It goes back to Britt Baker having this gimmick of being an evil dentist. Big shout out to Kane, Glenn Jacobs, making it work much better than he did. It goes back to Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa main eventing Dynamite in an unsanctioned match and having a barn burner. It goes back to all of that, and it's all just built up Britt Baker to be literally a transcendent level talent in the business. Like she is one of you talk about the biggest stars in AEW. You can't not talk about Britt Baker. That's just the truth. She's that big, and she's got that cross. I think she also will have eventually some cross promotional appeal with outside of just wrestling. So I think I think so. That's good. I think we're gonna see a lot of great promos. She's one of the best on promos in that entire company, and that's saying a lot. She's improved greatly in the ring, and she's quickly, as we saw on Sunday. Like she's a top level worker. It's going to be interesting to see where she goes from here because, we've talked about the AEW women's division. There's a lot of new people that she could work with. One person that I do want to see her work with, Chris Statlander. I would love to see that program because Statlander has been having a lot of great matches. You guys watch Dark? She beats the hell out of people and nearly decapitates people with her finishing move, which I'm not a huge fan of. But then again, because it's like a reverse pile driver where
it's kind of weird.
I know obviously there's a way to do it safely, but a lot of times they land right on their necks, and I'm just like, I don't like that move, man. This is a big Yoshitatsu taking the Styles Clash vibes from that move. But
what about Cardell? I'd like to see her with Cardell too.
I think Cardell, you hold that off. You hold that off for a little bit.
No, not a meat. Don't have it right away.
All out. Yeah, just put the belt. Just hot potato to the belt, brother. Cardell's like backstage. It's like, brother. It's just Hulk Hogan in a mustache. Hulk Hogan in a wig with his mustache. He's like, brother, brother. I'm Jake Cargill, brother. Look at my pythons, brother.
Oh my god, I hate you so much.
Well, brother, it's just a tan.
So we're talking about Britt Baker.
I can't get out of. I can't do one show without shitting on Hogan. I can't.
No, I mean, shit, the Young Bucks did it. So someone sent me a match of Nia Jax, early on Nia Jax, and she's fighting some jobber, and I look real good. It's Britt Baker.
Oh yeah, they did that. WWE, they did that twice. There were 2 matches they released. Both of them were Britt Baker and dark matches, jobbing out to someone else, who's with the company, and they released like the day before Double or Nothing, and they're just like, oh well, this is just a coincidence. Like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Like one of my buddies sent it to me. I was like, WWE is so petty.
I mean, like part of it, it might be pettiness, but it's also like I think it's also like it's interesting. I think it's also interesting because it's like she's in the news, get some YouTube clicks out of it. Why not? It's the best time to do that. I understand that as a YouTuber, right? But it's also just like I see why it can be perceived as petty. Like, although I do think that's like a cool, like, kind of time capsule piece to go back and watch, because like seeing just her in the WWE umbrella is pretty cool. But that is what it is.
It was very interesting because like she doesn't look old now, but she looks so much younger. Like that was what 2018, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I almost didn't recognize it.
All right, let's continue. Let's keep this train going. We are not even halfway through.
No.
Well, we're gonna get through this, Trev. Don't worry. All right, let's move on, fellas. Let's move on, guys, and let's talk about AEW Rampage. Trevor, you ready to talk about this AEW Rampage?
Yes.
Because Tony Khan at his media scrum had some very interesting news to share with everyone, and we also saw some very interesting, a very interesting debut on AEW Double or Nothing that we'll get to in just a second. But let's get to that right now. So, at AEW Double or Nothing in the media scrum, Tony Khan revealed some interesting details about the AEW Rampage show that's going to be airing on 10 p.m. on Fridays. AEW Rampage will premiere on August 31st, live on TNT Friday at 10 p.m. That's going to be the time slot on TNT moving forward. And he revealed some interesting tidbits. It will start live to begin with on the 13th of August. You're going to have a very special Friday the 13th, I guess, themed show or something to that expect. It's going to be equal to Dynamite and will get equal creative treatment. And Tony Khan made sure to emphasize that. Moving on, he said, while Dynamite will be live every week, there will be times in the future that Rampage is going to be taped after Dynamite. So, just if, the scheduling doesn't work out, they can't get an arena or what have you, they'll just tape it, which I think is probably a smart way to do it. And the goal is to announce a commentary team that will include individuals already within the company. So, one thing that people have wanted to see for a long time, I think, is Chris Jericho being a commentator for a long time. And one interesting thing that this man, Tony Khan, revealed at his post-game media scrum was that for the Rampage commentary team, they are looking to get someone who's already within the company, who's wrestled, and who people love on commentary. So when you get all that, I think it leads to Jericho. And he said it kind of narrows it down for you, but we'll make an announcement later on. The other... So and he's the only one. He's the only one who's done commentary, who people love, who's kind of like that older veteran kind of person who could, I think, fill that role.
Cody did commentary for a little while too, but
I don't think Cody's gonna be doing commentary every week.
No, I don't think so. But I'm just saying Cody did do it. But
yeah, but what do you think about some of these tidbits that Tony Khan revealed? What do we think about the new format? What do we want to see from Rampage?
I think it's gonna be fun. Again, I'm really excited. It's only 1 hour. Yes. Yes. But yeah, I mean, to bring Mark Henry in as one of your commentators is smart. I actually love Mark Henry. And also bring him as one of your coaches too in the back also helps, conditioning. I'm not sure what capacity he's coaching, like if he's doing strength conditioning or what he's doing, but he is going to be doing a coaching role, which they revealed on Double or Nothing. But yeah, I think it's interesting. And like you said, you want someone who the crowd likes, who has wrestled, who is a grizzled vet. You got Chris Jericho. I mean, who else besides Chris Jericho? I don't really like Taz. I mean, who really likes what's his name? Who really likes
Paul White?
Yeah, I like Paul White, but yeah.
But I don't know why. Taz gets a bad rap. I like Taz. I like Taz on Dark.
I like Taz.
I think him and Excalibur hilarious on Dark. You know who I love?
No.
Who I want to see? Who I want to see on the commentary team at Rampage? -1. He did some commentary on Dark the other week. Hilarious. He's like, shut up, Excalibur. Tony, fire you. And he's yelling at Tony Khan through the mic, telling him to fire Excalibur. I thought it was
know
fun.
what I'm gonna miss of Jericho doing commentary on Rampage? Tony Schiavone. Shut up, Tony Schiavone. I'm really gonna miss that.
That's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see that. One other thing really quickly that we found out at Double or Nothing was this man, the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, debuted. He made his AEW debut, and he's going to be an analyst apparently for Rampage. And Tony Khan kind of cleared that up because there was some speculation that he's an analyst. He's probably going to be on commentary. Tony Khan said that That's not exactly what being an analyst means. He's going to kind of reveal that down the line. So maybe that's going to be like, maybe a I think they might have him do like the Booger McFarlane kind of thing, where you remember like how on Monday Night Football he was like out on the field on his little scaffolding or whatever, doing like analysis. Maybe like after
see Mark Henry like riding past the ring, like
yeah,
that's a headlock.
That was a headlock. That means he grabbed him by the head. Back to you, Tony. So that's gonna be interesting. They go to give it a more sports-like feel, and I like Mark Henry. Because he's not gonna be wrestling. He's not gonna be wrestling. That's fine. I think it's fine. Have Mark Henry join. He's a coach too, so I don't think Mark Henry's a bad coach, especially for a lot of these bigger guys who are more like the big beefed up monsters. I think it's a good thing to have Mark Henry in.
I think it'd be good. I think it'd be pretty good. I'm just happy to see Mark Henry again, and he lost some weight too. Man, look good in the suit.
Man, look good, bro. Look better than me, man. I'm out here like eating, all depressed inside and stuff. just like it's okay though, cause COVID's almost over-ish. But we'll get to that.
Pizza.
We'll get to that. Let's move on and talk about. Let's stick with AEW. Our last AEW topic of the day, of the night, I should say. AEW, and this is a little more sobering, so bear with me here. AEW President and CEO Tony Khan personally apologized to Hikaru Shida after a member of the Spanish commentary team was heard mocking her accent. This happened on last Friday's Dynamite on the Go Home show to Double or Nothing. And the Spanish commentator in question was Willie Urbana. He was caught making fun of Asian accents by the hot mics of one of the Fight TV broadcasts on Dynamite. And while the promotion recognized, and it was during the segment where they were recognizing Shida's 1-year reign. So if you were watching the Spanish commentary of that, that's what you got during that, which is more unfortunate. It doesn't begin to say what that is really. But speaking at the post Double or Nothing media scrum, Khan said, he said, "I didn't think there was an excuse. I was not happy. Afterwards, I heard what happened, and having our commentators involved with what was said about her, who I apologize to, I thought it was best for the company to make that decision, and that decision was they fired Willie Urbana, which I don't think anyone's going to be complaining about. Like, you can't do that. That's just out of pocket, like, to say the very least. Like, you can't do that kind of stuff, especially like on a live broadcast while she's having her one of the biggest moments of her career, and that's what you go to immediately, Trevor. Like I don't have to question you about whether or not this is terrible, but what do you make of this?
Good for him. He's obviously a scumbag, and he got what he deserved. Like, why would you? Okay, first off, you shouldn't do it at all. Okay, let me preface that first off. You shouldn't do it at all. But if you were going to do something like that, why do it on live TV? You know what I mean? Like, again, don't do it at all. But if you're going to, why do it on live TV? Like, it's immoral. It makes you look like what you actually are, which is a dickhead. And he should be fired.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was, and I think like that's the only decision you make at that point. Like, that's just like what do you? Here's the thing, and like there's really no context you can say. Like some people, I think I heard like defending him on Twitter, or like, well, maybe the context of what he was saying. Like, there's no context where that's good. There's no context where making fun of someone's accent is like, especially in that situation, is good. There's like you can't like be like, and especially when you were dealing with it, this is her. This is okay. Not only like you said, it's not good at any point, right? It's like, make that very clear to clarify that.
Yeah.
But her biggest moment in her career, she's being crowned with a new world title. She's being crowned the champion for a year, the longest reigning champion in the history of the company. And immediately, that's what you go to. You don't deserve to be a commentator. Because you can't call the accent what it is. Like, you're just making fun of her accent. No, screw you. Screw you. And look, I'm someone who believes when this stuff happens, right? I'm someone who believes in like down the line, forgiveness and that
Right,
kind of stuff.
right.
But it's too early to even think about that, dude. Like you gotta
Oh, no.
like come on, like it's not even it's not even a question of whether or not it's okay. It's not okay, and I think that I hope that Shida is I hope that she was. Tony Khan obviously made it clear that he apologized to Shida, and I hope that they're all good there with the
If she's
communication.
okay with that, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
Because
think that
no one deserves that.
no one deserves that, man. Like that's again, like I said, out of pocket. And look, even for the guy for Urbana, I hope he learns from this and never does something like this again, because you can't do that. And like again, you
But
can't
the
do it.
ironic part to me is you're a Spanish commentator. That means you have an accent too.
Like, hey, yeah,
Why are
and
you?
put yourself in the other person's shoes. Like,
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Like, why would? Anyway.
yeah. I don't think we have to spend that much more time on it. Out of pocket. Don't do it if you're a commentator. We got to be better. You got to be better. Like, again, like it's the other thing people say. Well, it's give me comedy. First of all, it's not a comedy segment. Secondly, that's low hanging fruit. Thirdly, in no context is making fun of someone's accent like that. Especially the way he did it. Good. Don't do it.
Good.
All right. Speaking of racism.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh God.
Literally right out of my mouth.
Oh, allegedly. Well, actually, we heard his words, so not allegedly. So Dark Side of the Ring premiered the Ultimate Warrior episode, chronicling the life and career of Jim Hellwig, aka the Ultimate Warrior. They had interviews with Eric Bischoff, Jim Ross, Jim Cornette, as well as Warrior's first wife. And a lot of this. I watched the episode, right, and this was coming off the A&E documentary WWE released. I watched this documentary, and a lot of it was the story that I think we all already knew, because it just chronicled, okay, WrestleMania 6, it chronicled, okay, he comes into the business, okay, he tags with Steve Borden's thing, he becomes a Dingo Warrior, comes to WWE, wins the match at WrestleMania 6, wins the title, goes away, has heat with The Office, and then he comes back at WrestleMania 30 in the Hall of Fame, and then he passes away. I think it was a story that everyone already knew. It wasn't that interesting, if we're being honest. There wasn't really much new learned. I think the only thing that I learned specifically that I thought was interesting was the story of him and Jake the Snake Roberts. I thought that was really cool. So for those who might not have caught that, so Jake Roberts was he was telling the story that he was getting a title match with Warrior, and it just happened to coincide with the time where Warrior was fired for, holding up WWE for money and breaching his contract and whatnot, and Jake Roberts was pissed at Warrior about that, and he held that grudge. He said he wanted to kill him. He said he wanted to kill the Warrior, and they eventually, at WrestleMania 30 in the Hall of Fame, Jake Roberts also went in the Hall of Fame on the same night as Warrior, ironically, so he was there. And Warrior came up to him and apologized for his actions and apologized for whatever he may have done. So Jake ended up just getting that monkey off his back, getting, the tension off his back, and burying the hatchet right before he died, which I thought was pretty cool. So that was a cool tidbit. They also covered the racism and the homophobia and his, his alt-right views and whatnot, which I'm never going to condone, right? But at the same time, that's who he was. And we already knew that. So, what did you think about this, Trevor?
Again, it was most things that I knew actually, and which he's one of the many wrestlers that broke my heart. That once I found out some things about him, when I was a kid, I liked Ultimate Warrior. I mean, he was this big. He was like Jim Cornette said it best. He was a real life cartoon character. That is exactly what he was. He ran to the ring, shook the ropes, like he had all this high energy. Could he wrestle? Absolutely not. He couldn't wrestle his way out of a paper bag with a hole in it. He couldn't. But he was entertaining. He was super entertaining. The Ultimate Warrior was super entertaining. He was also entertaining because he was a nutcase.
Yeah.
He actually believed who he was.
Yeah, dexterity, pal. I just there's my favorite line of this whole episode was JR being like, yeah, he was talking about dexterity. What the fuck is that? I'm just like,
What is
Jim
that?
Ross. I'm like, Jim Ross, you're a king. You are a king, Jim Ross.
So what made me laugh mostly was, so again, like I said, I was a fan of Ultimate Warrior. I had the Ultimate Warrior comic book, right? I'm reading it.
So you're the one guy who bought that copy.
Actually, the funny thing was, believe it or not, so I also was a member. I had a subscription to the WWE magazine, WWF magazine. They sent a copy of that comic with the magazine.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That's not even a lie. They because it was back when he came back for WrestleMania. It was it fought Triple H, so it was a whole issue about him, and then they put that in with the issue.
Yeah, you know why they did that, right? Part of the deal, part of the deal of him coming back in '96 was for WWE had to buy like 1 million copies of his comic book that he was trying to sell.
That's right. Yeah.
And they did, and they couldn't give it away. They had to trick you to give it to you.
Bought it.
Like that's crazy. That is crazy, man. But yeah. So
I
JR
remember reading it last. What these words were. So I was like, Mom, I've never heard this word. What is this?
Dexterity, you gotta take the rocket fuel and go to the heavens, and then you gotta beat the living hell out of the monocle, and then the monocle looks at you and he says, "Oracles forever."
So I'm impressed for 2 reasons. 1, you remembered that, and 2, that you knew what the fuck he was saying.
Remembered what? I just remembered what? I didn't remember any. I just said, see, that's why it's every Warrior promo. I didn't even know what I was saying. I was just saying random stuff.
Yeah, he actually said something similar to that.
No, he didn't. Oh god, the Warrior.
There was one promo he said, I was sitting in the what did he say?
I was sitting in the depths of parts unknown.
Unknown. And I was looked up at a spaceship and I'm like, wait a minute, dude, like put the blunt down. Like, what are you talking about?
Buddy. Put something down.
Oh yeah. He was
it was that Hulkamania. It was that Hulkamania era, bro. It was a Hulkamania era. Brother. Notice how Hogan in like 87 was like brother in his promos, and Hogan in like 93 was like brother. Like,
right.
Oh my god.
And plus he didn't even care about his fellow wrestler, dude. He literally real life hurt Triple H. Triple H in that match went back and wanted to beat the holy crap out of him.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is about Warrior, it was someone who didn't care for the business, and I think that's what we got clear. We also got, I think, to hear a very interesting side that we hadn't heard from Ultimate Warrior's ex-wife. She mentioned how she met Warrior. She chronicled how, they got to be together and how they eventually ended things, and they were friends up until the end, which I thought was pretty cool. So again,
he kind of felt clarity at the end too. You could tell.
Yeah,
but his death was really, really, really. Because I remember that episode that he was on, and I remember saying to my cousin, like, he doesn't look good. He's breathing hard. He's sweating.
Really red, sweating. It was like it wasn't like it's one of those things like in the moment you're kind of like, man, he's really blown up, but like you don't really think anything of it. But looking back, you're just like, man, that is like an omen if I've ever seen one.
Yeah,
Yeah. It was also weird, man. Like just him dying literally the day after he was inducted, and then he got to do that promo on Raw. That was you can't make that stuff up. That is just it's something else, right?
That's what Jim Ross. That's exactly what Jim Ross was saying. That's just sad. You can't make it up. It happens.
R.I.P. I guess R.I.P. And it doesn't get any better. Next week's episode of Dark Side of the Ring is about Grizzly Smith, which I don't even know if I want to do like a segment on that. That's just oof. Like if you guys have not heard the story of Grizzly Smith, I'm not gonna
check it out.
Check it out. I you know what? we're not gonna talk about. I don't want to. I don't know. I don't know if I want to actually talk about the Grizzly Smith thing because that's just like I'll talk. How about this? We'll do it from the perspective of Jake Roberts next week. We'll do that.
Right.
I think that's a better way to cover it. I don't want to. It's just too much there with him. He's just terrible human being. And I think Jake Roberts would genuinely agree with me when we say that. Trevor, let's move on and talk about yours and my favorite promoter. Haha, I fit in another AEW segment because I'm a mark. Last one, I promise. So let's get into it. This week, Tony Khan cut a promo, an in-character promo on this guy, Nick Khan, who is the CFO of WWE. Nick Khan, he's been in the news a lot lately. He's like been part of this restructuring that WWE is doing. He was instrumental behind that $1 billion deal that WWE did with Peacock. He was instrumental, I think, in the Fox deal as well. So he's been like, big guy this guy has in WWE. But so Tony Khan, for those who are not paying attention, has been cutting all these promos on Impact already in this like this dick character that he plays, and he shows up with Tony Schiavone and he basically he does a little sarcasm and it's all lighthearted fun, and he doesn't show up on AEW or anything, so it's not going to be a character, which is good, but. He cut a promo, and in the promo about this, the genesis of this was that there were rumors that WWE and New Japan were going to be, having a working relationship, an exclusive working relationship, and Nick Khan was negotiating that for the past 2 months. And, and Tony Khan in this promo, this scathing promo that he cut, which is amazing, I thought, he mentioned this. He mentioned the fact that, hey, Nick Khan, you said you've been talking to New Japan for the past 2 months. You haven't gotten a lot done, Nick. And he went on to say that just in the past few weeks, I've had Yuji Nagata. I have the New Japan World Champion or United States Champion. I brought in all these people from New Japan. I have a working relationship. I am the Forbidden Door. He called himself the Forbidden Door, which I thought was funny. He's like, Nick, you're not getting much done, are you? Like, and what do you? And he basically was like, I have the U.S. Champion, Jon Moxley. What are you gonna do with that? So Tony Khan was basically saying that, hey, Nick Khan, for all the stuff you've been telling WWE about how you're talking to New Japan, it's kind of bullshit because Tony Khan is the one who actually has the working agreement with New Japan. So that was it. So that was interesting. He addressed it further. He was asked about it at his post-game media scrum, and he said, quote, I talked to New Japan. Tony Khan did. I talked to New Japan, and I asked them if they thought it would be a good idea for a good promo, and they thought it would be great. So he mentioned all of this to New Japan. So I think that's hilarious. So I think all of that talk about them working, WWE working with New Japan's, I think it's a lot of rumor and innuendo, but he went on to say, I thought it was a good promo. It made sense. We've had a lot of stuff going on with New Japan, and everyone's welcome to talk to each other in the wrestling business, but we've done some good stuff with New Japan over the last few weeks, and I think we're going to be doing some great things moving forward. I'm excited. And so am I, because he doesn't seem like Nick Khan is going to be able to, I think, do that deal. Because I don't think there's no way you're gonna be able to do an exclusive deal with New Japan. Especially as long as Jon Moxley is the United States champion there, and if Kenny Omega, who is going to eventually wrestle there, in a match for one of those titles, which is I think in the plans, I don't think that's gonna, I don't know. WWE would have to throw a lot of money. Then again, they have a lot of money, but they would have to throw a shit ton of money for that to be feasible. But I call bullshit on that.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen either. I really don't, because. They don't really like working with the McMahons anyway, do they?
I don't think so. The thing is, they've been burned. I think they got sued back in the day because Lesnar went to New Japan after his deal was up. So they got sued for that, I think. So there's a bit of bad blood. Let's move on. Oh God.
Yes, sir. You all right over there?
I'm fine. I'm tired.
Me too. Me too.
Let's continue. What's next?
Love you guys, though.
Love you guys. Real Take Fan Talk. Let's get to it, Trevor. Fan question of the week. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling? Trevor.
Very interesting question. You know what? I always start this. How about you go first this time?
Oh, well, for me, it's interesting. So for me, Stone Cold has to be on there. He's the biggest star of all time. During the biggest era in WWE or in wrestling history, I think it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. By default, I have to put Hulk Hogan on there because he was also instrumental in the golden era of wrestling. He has to go on there for me. And then Ric Flair. I think Ric Flair deserves to be on there, just given what he means, just not only in wrestling, but the cross promotional appeal, the pop culture aspect. He to this day is a pop culture icon. Ric Flair drip, say woo on a beat. Like he is he's big time. He's a limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun, and he's on my Mount Rushmore. My last spot. So Trevor, you know how I feel about wrestling history.
Absolutely.
I like to pay homage to those who came before me. So for me, I would put Antonio Inoki into that fourth spot. And that is because this is a wrestling. The question was phrased as a Mount Rushmore pro wrestling. And I think that representation of international wrestling cannot be completed without Antonio Inoki. He's responsible for some of the biggest shows in wrestling history. Literally, we talked about Collision in Korea last week. We talked about he did a match with Muhammad Ali. He's done matches with Giant Baba, with Andre the Giant, and he sold out arenas doing it and made wrestling. He is the father. Like, he made New Japan. He made wrestling in Japan what it is today. And Antonio Inoki, I think, belongs there.
Good picks, because so two of those definitely are going on live. Stone Cold, Ric Flair, definitely. But there's one that I've been playing with. So it was either Bruno Sammartino or Tito Santana.
Ooh, interesting.
And
Tito Santana.
I like Tito Santana.
Santana, Rushmore. Trevor. Bruno
definitely.
Bruno definitely, but Tito Santana.
I like Tito. Tito sucks.
I like Tito too. I'm not saying Tito Santana's a bad wrestler, but Tito Santana in a Mount Rushmore professional wrestling, Trevor.
I mean, hey. There's a lot of people out here that's going to put like Xbox on there. So
the Matador, Trevor, the Matador, Tito Santana, El Matador, Tito Santana. Come on,
not his WWE stuff. No, no, absolutely not.
You talking about his AWA run or what?
Yeah, AWA was much better than WWE run. Of course.
He was in WWE for like 20 years, Trevor.
True.
I'm sorry. I usually am very lenient with what people like.
No, I like Tito Santana. So
I like. I like Trent Beretta. I like Colin Delaney. They're not in my Mount Rushmore.
But I didn't say he was there. I said I was toying with it.
I'm really toying with Colin Delaney and Wildcat fucking Braden Walker over there.
I'm about to finish you, bitch.
Best thing Braden Walker ever did in pro wrestling. I don't know. Everyone just saw my blinky.
Definitely. Bruno Sammartino. And the last one was going to be Dusty Rhodes.
Ooh, the American Dream. Dusty Rhodes, baby. Nice. I like that. I was honestly torn. I was gonna put Chris Jericho on there.
Yeah.
But then I was like, he's kind of like that. He's like that 4B for me. Like if it's just by a hair, I had to put Inoki in there, but I think Chris Jericho does belong there.
It was another one that was up there. I forget the name now, but there was another one I was thinking along the lines. Only because his. No, never mind. I wouldn't put him up there now. But yeah.
You're gonna put like the fucking like the Rick the Model Martel on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling. Put him on there. Get your boy Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, all the jobbers on the Mount Rushmore.
They are on like baseball cards of wrestling.
It's like the Mount Rushmore of the NFL. We gotta have like fucking who's that guy? Dwayne Haskins.
Rex Grossman. Let's get Rex
Grossman. Hey, that man went to a Super Bowl. We did way more than Dwayne Haskins ever did.
But his name was Grossman. His last name described how he played.
Still got paid. Still got. Moving on. Let's talk. We're gonna skip Raw. I don't want to talk about Raw. It sucked. Anyway, here's my Raw review. Here's the official Raw review. It sucked. All right, moving on. Let's talk about something that didn't quite suck. Raw has a new lead play. Raw has a new lead play-by-play guy, and this is coming off the heels of Adnan Burke departing from the company last week. WWE announced that former MMA announcer for both Bellator and UFC, Jimmy Smith, would be joining as the lead man for the Red Brand. He made his debut last night. All in all, I think he did a pretty good job. He was familiar with the product. He felt like more of a wrestling announcer. He was calling moves, which I thought that was great. But I think he did overall very well. Trevor, what do you think about Jimmy Smith in this spot? And how long does he stay here though?
Yeah, that's another question. I like Jimmy Smith though. I liked him in most of the MMA, Bellator, UFC. I like him. I think he's good. He really knows his stuff over there, but it was interesting to see him in a different capacity. And I think he did a good job. I do. Again, how long is he going to stay? I mean, I think he's more familiar with the product than Adnan Burke was, and I think he's a little more crisp. So I think he should stay a little longer. But is it one of those things where they're just having him as a filler until they find exactly who they want? Because they kind of had to rapidly find somebody because they got rid of him quickly, abruptly. So I don't know. I don't know how long he stays, but I think as long as he gets better, and he seems to know the product, he seems to be doing well. As long as he gets better, I think they keep him. But again, you never know with WWE.
Yeah, for me, the only thing he's missing is he's a bit monotoned, which I think he can work on that, and that's like the least. I think that's the least worst thing about it. Or like that's the least that's the biggest thing you can improve easily, I would say. So you can improve that enthusiasm and that tone down the line, but the fact that he knows the wrestlers, I think, is good. The fact that he has Corey Graves and Byron Saxton, who are experienced along with him, is good for him to learn, and he got better as the night went along. Raw as a show was terrible. It was shit. It was -4 stars, but I thought that Jimmy Smith was like a really, really good. I think he's fresh face, has some credibility. I liked him on. He did some spots with UFC. He's been on the Rogan podcast, so he's a good dude. I like it.
I mean, the thing is, you don't have to be that energetic when Joe Rogan is next to you. You know what I mean?
Watch offline. We'll talk about that later. All right, let's move on and talk about this big news potentially for SummerSlam. Trevor, your favorite wrestler, not mine, X-Pac, made some headways earlier this week when he had speculated that on this big rumor in WWE that John Cena will make his WWE return this summer to work a program with the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. The only other time these two faced off was at No Mercy 2017 when Roman pinned John Cena clean in the middle of the ring. SummerSlam is an event. It's allegedly happening at Allegiant Field, which is where the Las Vegas Raiders play. So it's a big stadium they're trying to fill. Apparently, they haven't officially announced it, but that's the trend that we're seeing. So they're also trying to fill that field, and you would think that John Cena versus Roman Reigns would really help filling that arena out. So what do you think about this? Is this a match the fans want to see?
Who knows? With WWE fans, who knows? I don't know. I haven't seen John Cena in a ring in years, and I mean they did have a good match before, so it could be potentially a good match. It could be, but my big question is, how the hell does X-Pac keep getting this information? Who was telling X-Pac this stuff?
Pac, you gotta stop leaking shit from what I'm saying. It's the game. I'm the game. I can't release all this information.
Poor Pac, trying to be relevant. Isn't it cute?
Yeah, he's got a podcast too, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't watch it.
Yeah, but no, I think this match would be good. I want to see this. I want to see Roman Reigns and John Cena because it's also I want to see a more John Cena when he's come back. He's passed the torch quite a few times when he's come back, and I like that. But I think if you want to get fans back into the arena, if you want to get fans chanting, good or bad, and I think in this case it would be pretty good. I think John Cena would get a really good reaction. I think you bring back John Cena, you fill out the stadium, you have a classic with Roman Reigns, who's doing the best work of his career, Paul Heyman on the mic. Paul Heyman, John Cena promos would be epic.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Let's go. I
Yeah.
want to see it. WWE, book this. You will. It is financially suitable for you, and it will be entertaining for me. Do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll work. Like I said, I just haven't seen what Cena can do in a long time. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see him.
Oh, dude, Cena. I look. 6 moves of doom. He's got 6 now. He's got the.
8.
We're up to 8.
Isn't it? It might be 6, 7. I think. It's
I don't know. Amen. You learned a move. There we go. It only took you 25 years, but you did it.
Just like Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash has 4 moves.
Well, he started with 5. He's now at like 2. He ended his career with like 2. He's like, big boot, pal, and drink a beer. 2000 WCW, Kevin Nash just walking to the ring with a beer in his hand. On a run-in. He would do run-ins doing that. In jeans and a black t-shirt. Just walk to the ring, drinking a beer on a run-in while like there's a count going on that he has to break up, and then the person has to kick. He did not care. He was like he was on the booking team too.
God, horrible wrestling made me happy.
Jeez. All right, let's move on, man. We're really going through these WWE topics.
Doing pretty good.
Yeah. Let's actually. Let's just. We've already gone on long enough, I think.
You tired?
Yeah, I'm actually really tired. I got stuff to do too. But let's just finish up with this. We can always do another segment. We can record one later and pop these out. But all right, so let's talk about this. Apparently, Trevor, talent want WrestleMania to be 2 nights. A number of WWE talents have reportedly been very vocal to management and officials backstage about their preference for wanting WrestleMania to remain a 2-night event like it has the past 2 years. Both WrestleMania 36 and 37 were presented across 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday, as WWE had to, put up with the pandemic.
Right.
But we saw what it did. It broke up the matches. It broke up this insane card, because usually you have 16 matches at WrestleMania. Right. It lasts for 10 hours, and it's a chore to get through, and the fans are tired by the end, so there's no heat for the main event. And according to Fightful Select, they are reporting that the talent and staff has spoken highly of the 2-night format, and citing the crowd enthusiasm as a huge benefit. And multiple talent and staff have made it clear to those who will listen that they would prefer the 2-night WrestleMania, and they're pushing that. Talent is really pushing for that to be the case at WrestleMania 38. So, Trevor, I'm going to leave it to you. Would you like to see another 2-night WrestleMania?
Absolutely. I think it makes more sense that way. We talk about weeks after week at this point about how long Raw is, about how long some of these shows are. We're ranting and raving at the fact that the new AEW show is only 1 hour. Honestly, WrestleMania starts what normally it starts 6:30, 7 o'clock, and ends at 12.
5 p.m. if you're counting the honey mustard gotta be pre-show.
Honey mustard.
The honey, you never watched those the 2015 kickoffs, bro. The Mountain Dew honey mustard gold chicken Enzo Amore gotta be pre-show.
I did.
Those are the days. No, but they usually start around 5 and then they go up to 12, 12:30.
I knew it was somewhere around
5:36. Just.
But by the time the main event comes, you just want to take a nap.
Yeah.
You're fuck this, I'm done.
Yeah, that's what happened with the Becky Lynch WrestleMania 35. They went out there, they had a good match, and then Becky Lynch would have been the most over thing on the entire show if they didn't just see 15 matches before that. Fans are tired. Fans get tired. You can't. That's too much. Across 2 nights, we saw it this year. I think this year was a perfect experiment for it. It worked. It worked financially for WWE, and it works for the fans. They're not tired. They're excited and then it also works for the talent, because you actually have 2 main events. Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks is a main event of WrestleMania. That game's undebatable. They main evented that show. They closed night 1, and it was great. And it's not like other companies don't do it. New Japan has a 2-night. Their main show is 2 nights, and they've kind of perfected those cards because the fans are just into it on both nights. So I think they should do it.
I think so. I think it works perfectly. I mean, especially if your talent is already asking for it. Listen to your talent. Do something you've never done before. Listen.
Yeah. Like I don't want to see like another. We're gonna have 18 matches. WrestleMania's gonna start at 1 p.m. and go till 1 a.m. we're gonna get all the money. No.
How does your voice not hurt after doing that voice?
I don't know. I don't know. It does. It's the answer to that. It does. Especially since I've been talking for like 2.5 hours now. Jesus. Speaking of which, Trevor, I think it's time to go home. I'm beat. I'm so beat. I'm sorry. It's like the first time this happened where I've just been like completely beat on a show.
I've been doing it sick, so.
Well, God bless you, dude. God bless you, dude. Trevor, it's been good having you, man. Get better, bro.
I'm trying. And thanks for your questions, guys. Thanks for watching. Sorry we weren't on our A game today, but thanks for watching.
Yeah, it's okay, man. It's okay. It's kind of like the WrestleMania. It's kind of like WrestleMania. It's like we start off great, and then it's just like, I'm tired.
I don't want to be the Monday Night Raw of YouTube, you know?
It's like 2 nights. 2 nights. You got to Real Take Wrestle Talk Night 1, Real Take Wrestle Talk Night 2. Brother, book me on. Hulk Hogan got booked on both nights of Mania.
Oh, God.
This fucker, he's like the least over thing on the entire show. He managed to get booked on both nights. What a heel.
I still, like I said, laughed my ass off once I found out the Young Bucks were fucking making fun of him. I was
What did they do? What were they doing making fun of him?
They did this, and then and then like they hulked around. It was the funniest shit. Oh, so great.
Young Bucks. I'm sorry. I love you. That was amazing.
Oh,
yeah, that was amazing. All right. We'll see you guys next week for another edition of Real Take Wrestle Talk. In the meantime, be sure to like, share, subscribe for daily videos. You got Real Take Sports Talk coming to you live on Thursday night, hopefully. I will see you guys there. Trevor, say goodbye to the fans.
Goodbye, fans.
We'll see you next time.